What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Wednesday. It is the big thing, and we have a reunion of sorts. It's a reunion, definitely. Absolutely a reunion. It's maybe not the reunion you expected, but it's the one you deserve. So we have a good show here today. Look, there's this news about KANG. Is he finally going to be... Is he going to continue? Is he going to do his thing, or is he going to be replaced? That's the rumor. So we'll talk about that. We will talk about the rumor about The Last of Us. A big casting apparently has been done for season 2. So we'll get into that a little bit more. The Rock, he's going to have Moana as his next live action. That's the movie. But the reason you're all here, we know it. We want to get Steph Sabraw's take on Ahsoka. What does she think? She hasn't talked about it anywhere. Well, we got exclusive. It's going to happen today. So it's going to be a fun show. It's myself, Steph Sabraw, Frank Janish. You saw it on the thumbnail. It's a reunion of the Schmodown Rundown with me kind of popping in as the Brad Gilmore. I don't have the suit or the hair for it, but I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, we got that and more on today's show. If you're brand new to the channel, man, we're at 102,000 subscribers, and we hope you can get us to 200. You can do it fast. Now, I got the graphic upon graphics to make that. Look how pretty that graphic is. Perfect. Look at that. It's just stuck a 2 right over the 1. You can't even see that right now, but you will, because I'm going to edit. So thanks for joining us on the show here today. Live show. Supposed to have Steph with us, but she bailed because she's going to a wedding. Ridiculous. So we're doing a show on December 2nd at Flappers Comedy Club. We hope that you will come check us out. We'll be there. Frank will be there, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Frank's going to be there too. We'll be eating pizza together, and we'll see. Frank's lying. He just said he's not going. He's lied to you guys. You thought that just by him saying that he would be there, that would sell more tickets. Just saying you're not going to be there, you son of a bitch.
I'll be there.
Okay, fine. All right, let's get into it. It's the big thing. It's me. It's Frank Janish. It's Steph Sabraw. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is the big thing. Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Check us out. Thanks for everybody who has been doing that. Thanks for all the brand new peeps that we have on the show. We got a lot to talk about. But first of all, my pizza buddy, Frank Janish, is here.
What's going on?
We got to put that LaMonica's up soon.
Oh, yeah.
The LaMonica's. But I love you, Frank, and we've seen a lot of each other recently with the Marvels, but I can't say that you're going to be my focus right now.
Okay.
Because my buddy, Steph Sabraw.
Yay!
It's about time.
I'm the focus.
You are the focus. Do you know how many questions I've gotten about, like, when's Steph back? When's Steph back?
Oh
When's
my
Steph back?
gosh. Yeah, I have missed you guys. I missed the show so much.
Good.
It was almost like I needed to not even think about it because I missed it so much. But then I watched every week just to watch Kristian and Mike go eat each other's heads off.
But it is true, though, because she's like, and not in a way that it's just like she was being a turd. Like it's almost like she just like distanced herself away from it. But if you text her, she'd text you back and kind of be like, how's it going and everything too. And then she chimed in a couple times on the YouTube comments. Like, couldn't particularly stay away. But yeah, I needed you there though too, because I needed kind of like that 1-2.
I know.
It's fun to. Did you see the episodes when I put like the noises over his curses?
Yes, yes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I'm bummed that he couldn't be here today, obviously, because he was working. But thankfully, Frank was available and we were able to get him in here because I want to, because you haven't talked about really anything for.
No.
I know you've done like a couple of reactions and stuff, kind of.
Not
right?
of new stuff.
Not of new stuff.
No.
So you haven't talked about really anything Ahsoka related. So I'm going to give the floor to you for as long as you want. Your camera's on you. I want a full on. Yeah, you're the focus. I want a full review. I want spoiler thoughts. I want all of it.
It's so stressful because obviously Ahsoka was my #1 most anticipated Star Wars anything movie show for the entire announcement. She's my favorite character, and there are so many things that I truly loved about it. I was like, wow. But there is something even throughout the weeks I've been thinking about. I can't tell why it wasn't my favorite and why it's not. I haven't rewatched. I've rewatched 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Probably a few
The Hayden
times.
one.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that one, and there was another one with Sabine, that the training episode
Okay.
that I really
Yeah, yeah,
liked. And so there was things like that, the training that gave me Empire Strikes Back vibes in Dagobah, which I really like that kind of connection that you saw between them. And the way it was filmed was really like a movie. It really felt like a movie every single night that you were sitting there. I do kind of wish that I could have watched it start to finish. Have you done that yet?
You mean watch it almost like a full film?
Yeah, like a full film.
No, I'm with you. I watched like one or two episodes back, but I haven't gone back, and I don't know if I will.
Right. Yeah. So I don't want to be like the type that says bad things about it, but I loved a lot of it. There's a lot that was fine to me.
Yeah, which is totally fair, and I think that there's some stuff that Frank and I talked about it a few. I mean, he was on a couple of the episodes where we went into depth. I think there's a lot. For the most part, I mean, I really enjoyed the series. Right, I did not like the last episode.
Okay.
Really at all. I thought it was just too many. There was too many holes. Like that was the other thing, though. Too overall for the whole season, the writing just was okay.
Right.
The writing was okay.
Right.
And it's like as if it was an animated series, writing would have been great, and it would have been a great animated series. But as a live action, and I'm not buying this whole thing with Filoni of like, well, yeah, that's the way George does it. George does it like it's for kids, and you got to have that thing too. You can still make it kid friendly and still put a little bit more writing into it. Like when I do someone just checked their phone at home. But when I I don't know, the writing itself, it didn't. There's things that were missing. Like, for example, like the main thing, again, this is spoilers. I brought this up, and I'm curious if you feel the same way or it didn't bother you as much. Like Sabine using the Force, they set it up from the beginning, knew it was going to happen eventually.
Right.
Didn't love it. I would have much rather it been like Chirrut in Rogue One. It would have been like knowing that you could feel the Force, but just couldn't connect to it right all the way through.
Okay.
That would have been interesting, but you knew that was coming. So she does, and she uses the Force with the Stormtrooper in that episode. I dug that. I liked it a lot, but she was trying to figure it out. And then, not 5 minutes later, she's like, oh, Ezra, I'm going to throw you now.
Right.
And he's like, what? Quick little writing thing. All you could, because the whole season's about trust, right? It's all about trusting each other. Ezra, who is a seasoned Jedi, could have said, you just tuned into the Force. Throw me. And she's like, yeah, I just tuned into it. I could kill you. And he's like, I trust you. Mm-hmm. And let him guide her. It's okay to let him guide her. It's okay. And they didn't do that. And it was like one of those moments to where it's like little moments like that, like writing moments that are just kind of, it's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of great ideas, and things that happened in the show.
Yeah.
That
the storyboarding is lit.
But the execution of some of the things, like what you were just talking about, I was kind of like, maybe I would have done a little bit different, or it doesn't feel quite the way I thought it would have landed, given the idea behind it. So there's a lot of that throughout the show, but I did like it largely a lot. I'm not quite as down on the finale as you are, but I think because a lot of it's time soon. I'm curious about your thoughts about like Baylan Skull.
So I was gonna get into that. So here's the things that I love. The Ahsoka things when she like goes outside of the spaceship and starts doing twirls, and yes, she's Ahsoka. She should be able. She's earned to do whatever she wants, kind of. But then I thought that they didn't earn. Other than Baylan, the acting was unbelievable. So you kind of know that this guy is probably really dope. But other than that, why is he the only person I've ever seen really go head to head other than Anakin with her without any sort of explanation of why he should be equal to her and take her out, essentially. So that part kind of bugged me as a lover of the character.
Well, they could have, again, writing wise, instead of him disappearing in the final, being gone, you build him up the entire time. He's gone in the finale, and so is she. The Shin's gone too. They're both gone, and you built them up. They were the best villains in Star Wars we've had in a while, and you could have done addressed what you're talking about, because I thought they were going with that. Like they're building up. Like, what is this guy carrying underneath there? And then nothing. So that's why I understand why you're feeling the way that you did, because it's like we didn't give it to us, and unfortunately, they probably won't unless they recast.
Right. And why, this is such a nitpicky thing, but why is Sabine shooting like a stormtrooper? Like, her aim was so bad.
It's not a nitpicky thing. She's a Mandalorian.
She's a Mandalorian. Yeah. She should be kill-shotting every single time she blasts. It shouldn't be a question. And I was watching it like, has her aim always been that bad? And if you watch the show, it's like, no. I went back to watch the show to see if I
No, of course not.
She was such a killer in the show. And so I was like, did she just lose all of her swag?
I'm telling you, it's an unfortunate thing that because, like I said, there's a lot of good kind of Star Wars soup into it, and,
Right.
and it feels like you're watching Star Wars. And I saw the first two on the big screen, and it really played and made me miss Star Wars on the big
I
screen.
saw
more than so.
the Hayden episode, The World Between Worlds.
Oh, really?
I saw that one at the screening, and
it probably looks great,
feels
right? Yeah.
Like a movie.
so cinematic, and I'm like, holy hell! Like,
It does, but the thing is, though, and this is the unfortunate part about it. Now, you're a Star Wars nut, right? So we all are. But how often, as you said, do you really think about that show in the same way that you do, like The Last of Us? We have a story about The Last of Us today. The Last of Us was a great season, and any little tidbit of information, people are like, whoa. People are not like, when's season 2 of Ahsoka coming out?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it left off, and you're like, oh, if it has a season 2, that's cool. And that's unfortunate. It's better than a lot of the stuff that they've done recently.
for sure.
But I do hold this thing because like years ago, I was all for Filoni being the guy to run stuff. I think it would be a mistake to have him run just the Star Wars narrative. I think he's got his own Filoni Favreau verse, which is fine. Let him do the movies, do everything that he's doing. But to have him as far of in charge of the whole creative narrative, I think is wrong. I don't think he's a fan of Andor. I don't think he is. And I think that you never hear him talk about Andor. You never hear of any collaboration between them at all.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the best writing. That's the type you can treat Star Wars with adult gloves too. You can give kid gloves, and you can do that, but you can give it adult gloves too, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole Filoni push back then, about running, I was never really on board with it, just because he is a creative guy, and when you have someone talking about running a whole,
I'm not talking about Lucasfilm. I'm talking about the creative.
Oh, just the creative, yeah.
Lucasfilm,
Well, I
you
mean,
gotta
other
deal
people,
with way other things.
other people were saying, give him the reins of Lucasfilm
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm like, well, first of all, it's like we do this all the time, where someone makes something really great or a couple things, and then we're like, give him the reins of everything, let him run everything. I'm
Right.
like, you're just giving this guy a job who may not even want the job.
Right.
And so I never really delved into that kind of thing. But in terms of the whole vision of running the creative side, there's so many. Star Wars is so expansive. It would be hard for one guy to be like, this part of this era, this part of the timeline, this part of to have it all. I mean, that's what the story
Feige does
the
it.
group is. I mean,
right now it's probably a bad
Look.
example to give, but for 3 phases, Feige did it pretty damn well.
yeah. I mean, but you also have, there's more than just one guy,
Of course,
right? So,
of
but
course.
it's all about who you have around you. And for a while, Filoni, Favreau, and you thought, oh, this is a great tandem. You see Mando season 1 and 2, and you're like, oh, they really got something here. But then when when they start pumping out too much content, then you just get lost in the sauce, and you're just,
That's true, but there also is a problem with too many cooks in the kitchen, because what happens is a lot of times, and there's rumors that this happened at Lucasfilm. I don't know how true it is, but you're going to do that little show. I don't know what that is, and sure, if it does well, we'll talk about it. Go have fun, do whatever. I'll leave you alone. And then it does well, and then it does real well, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, why don't you do this time? Why don't you do this instead? And then it's like that happens not just at Lucasfilm. It happens a lot of different places. They're like, okay, I'm going to go off and do my thing. That little thing over there. Like, look at the Joker, right? The Joker was a movie that was Warner Brothers almost wanted to bury it, and then it starts to get like this buzz on it, and it winds up making $1 billion.
right.
They didn't even know if they were going to release it at one point, because they were like, rated R thing with the Joker, and it made $1 billion, and they basically got a chance to go off and do their own thing. And now I think it's different with filmmakers sometimes too, because when you get that kind of power as a filmmaker after your first one, you have a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we're seeing with Taika Waititi, he's not going to be a part of
Right.
the next Thor. And that was an classic example of what we're talking about. Like, he does 1 or 2 cool things. I still love Taika. I love Love and Thunder. But I do get the criticism of why I think that it's like this jump. I don't know if it has to do with social media or the way things trend and the pull of the people, and then the executives don't really have a pulse on it other than wanting to serve the people. So
Sure.
they're like, screw it, do it all. You're hot right now.
That seems to be the case at Lucasfilm. They did that for a bit, and then that's why a lot of times like, oh, but their last movie didn't do very well, so maybe not. Maybe we'll give you a couple more we're gonna put on the kids' gloves now and do this. Oh, actually, you know what, Colin Trevorrow, Book of Henry didn't do so great, and JJ wants to come back, so bye. Lord and Miller, you guys did this, but we're gonna it just happened over and over and over again. But with Filoni, like the thing that I give him also some slack on is that you got to also realize that he made his name in animation, right? And he knows how to make animation work. He knows how to make animation stories work.
Yeah.
But you can get away with certain things in animation inside of the story, and that might serve as like lack of dialogue or lack of this in animation that you won't really pick up. That sticks out like a sore thumb in live action. And that I think would happen in Ahsoka a lot of the things that happen, like little things that, you know, some people didn't get bothered by that I did. Like in the same way in the Marvels, there's a moment in the Marvels that I won't give a major spoiler for, but there's an emotional moment that could have happened that doesn't happen after a buildup of all this stuff. And I was like, oh, if there was just a little bit more emotion there, that scene would have meant so much more. And in Ahsoka, especially as someone who loved Rebels, I'm curious if you feel the same way or you don't. When Sabine finally finds Ezra, it's almost like, what's up, bro? It's not. It's like a brief hug. It's like not even like she's her whole mission has been this. And like Ahsoka gave him a better hug, I thought.
Right. Not only that, the Sabine, she was a different Sabine than I know Sabine to be. And so that was kind of frustrating watching, but it's their prerogative to make a live action Sabine how they want to, I guess. But that moment, I do agree, like with her in general, just sacrificing Ahsoka like that, thinking she's gone and ruining the entire mission to find this one person, which I get. Like, it's that classic question: do you save the world or save your family member? And I thought that was a cool way of showing that on screen. But if you're gonna do that, then you better. I want to see you cry. I want to see you like maybe kiss and be like, "Oh no, we shouldn't have kissed. I was so emotional."
How'd my hand get there?
I missed you, brother.
But it's So I mean, there's little things like that. Like I said, for the most part, I really did. I mean, it's one of those things to where you always say, "Look, I had a Star Wars show to watch every week. There was not a time that I said it doesn't feel like Star Wars, right? And I wasn't bored. No. It just like." It was one of those things where like I just want more. And like when you look at something like Loki, right? Did you guys watch Loki season 2? Fantastic show.
Great.
Very well written. Character had like such an arc, and like you were able to put humor in there, and you could have kids watch it, you could have adults watch it. I think it skews a little bit more on the older side for just the seriousness of it, especially the emotional arc that Loki does have. And it's like, let's treat it a little bit more like that. I thought Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 played with that a little bit more. 3 kind of dove into more of like the animated kind of writing that we've seen in the past with like depth. And that's why these 30-minute episodes it's a disservice. And there's some that were like 40, but like make them an hour. You can afford it, Disney. Make it do less shows and make them an hour.
Yeah, it'll be interesting going forward. I mean, obviously they have stuff somewhat in the can with like Skeleton Crew and Andor and Acolyte. So they're we're going to see, I think, pretty much a similar pattern for quite some time still until they get out of this era of television that they're in right now. So it'll be interesting if they switch modes or switch how they operate going forward. I don't know, because they seem to be really, great with Andor. You do this. Leslie Helen, you're going to do your own thing over there, and then Filoni's got it with Favreau and
the Acolyte's going to be interesting. You and I have been talking about the Acolyte forever, right? So now it's rumored to be over like $220 million for the budget. There's rumors that Keanu Reeves is in it now. There's
that'd be so great.
It would be great. Like, look, the fact that they have real locations is inspiring.
Yes.
The fact that they said there was tons of reshoots is maybe. Could be inspiring, could be less inspiring, because it's like, okay, maybe they didn't like what they were having, but they went back to change it up. That trailer, they showed it at Celebration. There's been no trailer for that show. Now, granted, we've gotten strikes and everything too, but what's going on with that show? Yeah. Where is it? Where's Skeleton Crew? What's going on with that? That show is supposed to come out like now. So
yeah, that's right.
We don't know what's happening with that show. That's probably going to be the next one out the gate. And then because Acolyte is almost like a it's like you said, Andor. It's like kind of like a side one.
Yeah.
It doesn't play into this whole thing that ultimately leads to that
Which
movie.
I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think this is the problem that a lot of these major networks, mainly Disney and Lucasfilm, are facing is this, and DC.
Connectivity.
Yeah, the connectivity can be really great and powerful, but it also feels like it's become a jail for all of these writers and creators, in the sense that, like, if I'm finishing Ahsoka and I'm sitting in the room with Lucasfilm, you're basing your whole movie in 5 years or 10 years, whenever they want to announce it is, off of this. This is the jumpstart of it with Mandalorian, and people were fine with it. Like,
Right.
it was good. It definitely was good, but there's just something that I can't really express about this, like, factory line, that I wasn't in the first line of people to be fatigued by it, but now I have been, where I'm kind of like, damn, like, this feels just constrictive of your guys' own making.
But I do think, Steph, honestly, it's writing.
Yeah.
It's all about writing. And
Is there too much freedom in a sense because it's streaming and it's on your platform or that platform, and whereas if it was on like a network, there's certain, you got to fill either 23 minutes, whatever, or 45 minutes, whatever, and you got to do that because you have ads and all that stuff, the advertisers. But with streaming, it's like they built it so much on subscriber numbers and all that. They're not worried about selling, ads or whatever. Although streaming services are now going back to that, but when they're making these shows, we can do 6, because like a network would order an X amount of episodes, whereas the streaming service is like, well, we'll do 6 because
that's our story.
The budget says that, or that's our story. I wonder if like that's because obviously the whole model for TV has
changed.
shifted with streaming. So do you think that's part of the reason why we're getting some of the length of seasons and
length of seasons, yes, absolutely. But I actually find that a positive because look at something like Lost. Like Lost, if Lost was on streaming, Lost might have had some of the best seasons. I mean, a lot of people will say that they did have some of the best seasons, but there was, even the writers will tell you, there was a ton of filler, especially in like season 2.
Sure, yeah.
Because they had to. They had to fill. We're buying 22 episodes, so they had to. As opposed to, what we'll do. What they have? How many was it, like 6 seasons or something? Almost something like that.
Something around there, yeah.
Let's say 6. Let's say 7. Whatever it was. If they wanted to, they could have probably gone either longer, or they could have said, we're going to do it on Amazon Prime or whatever the hell it was, and it's coming out, and you do it. I still think weekly is the way to go. I think that Disney has been doing that right for the most part, even though they're dumping Echo all the episodes in January. But I think that week to week is the right way to go. But I think that the length of the episodes, when you put a 35-minute episode in a big IP show, you are really, really risking the lack of character development, because you have to have spectacle in these things, right? It's different when you have something like The Bear. When you watch something like The Bear is a drama or a comedy if you listen to the categories, but
Unbelievable.
it's about dialogue.
It's
about,
all dialogue.
and it's character development.
Relationships,
so it's okay if it's 35 minutes, because in that one episode is like one of the best episodes of television ever. Is that holiday episode?
Oh, Jesus!
And that's pure dialogue writing, and you
phenomenal.
know who these characters are, you know how they tick, and that's the type of stuff you do need in these streaming shows,
right?
And
They've dropped this sense of world building because it's supposed to be built into the 20 movies you should have watched before. But it's like, I just rewatched Lord of the Rings, and it's like, they just spend so much time world building that you're like, then you're signed on to all the action scenes, and it all makes sense. But I think that they got it, or maybe it's just us, but I feel like they're getting it wrong that we don't care about dialogue and conversation.
I think, it's like, I feel like the TikTok generation
Right,
won't.
boom, boom.
They just want to see like, oh, let's do like a big CGI creature popping out of a cave, and it's like, but give me more to it. I'll give you an example of a movie that I was not expecting anything from, and built on a world that I had already known, and that's the new Hunger Games movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't expecting.
Talk to me about
I wasn't expecting anything from
Yep.
that movie. I read all 3 of the Suzanne Collins original ones, and I saw the movies. I thought that the first book is far superior than the first movie.
For sure.
The second The second movie to me is the best movie. Catching Fire is the best movie. And then Mockingjay book is the same as the Mockingjay movie. There's nothing you can do with it because the story's just okay. So I didn't read, the Ballad of Songbirds and Shoes? I don't know, whatever.
You saw it. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, Songbirds and Snakes, I think it is.
Featuring Shoes and Beep.
I would love to see them pop out in the middle of it. But I was, again, saying, okay, let's see what it is. I was like, this is just going to be another rehash. Rachel Zegler's probably going to now be the Katniss, and you're going to see the same type of stuff. They make her up. She wins over the crowd. It's not the movie. The movie is the building of Snow and watching him go from this kind of poor guy who's trying to have this status, trying to follow.
He's Anakin.
Essentially,
Yeah.
Essentially, he is, but he really is. And you watch trying to follow in his father's footsteps. He goes and you spend a lot of time in the Capitol, and you spend all these things, and you kind of build it. Tom Blythe is a star. I didn't know who the hell this guy was.
Right, I don't know him.
He's a star. It's his movie. Like Rachel Zegler is absolutely an important character, and she's like the love interest, and she's like the District 12. But she's not. They don't try to make her Katniss. They don't try like, oh, okay, she's great with the arrow. She sings, but not in a way that like in the Marvels where it just comes out of nowhere. And they make it. It's actually the good example of how they can put a musical number in it.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, that like she's singing this one song, and I don't know, she's singing, and the peacemakers are going. The Capitol says keep rolling on it. And everybody else doesn't start singing. She's singing, but they use it, and the games themselves are not the games that we know from the movies. It's like I think like 40 or 50 years beforehand, so they're not evolving. They're actually on the ratings are down. They're thinking about canceling them at this one point. It's just like, and the games were like all over the place.
Yeah,
it's like one little stinky arena, and it's like that's world building.
I see.
That's showing the progression of it. That I believe that's the prequel side. The third act of that movie is going to be the one where most people are going to be like, oh, they could have made that a second movie. And I understand that, but I liked it because it's a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, but they earn it. Yeah. They earn it with the writing, and they earn it with the character development. Although I was emotionally attached to every single one. Like I said, I went in there going, okay, another Hunger Games movie. Let's cha-ching in.
Right.
That's what it seemed like to me when it was announced. So it's nice to hear that it didn't turn out to really be that way then.
Writing. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's writing. And this was a very well written, very well directed. Music was really good, but Tom Blythe carries this film. And I know people have beef with Rachel Zegler and everything too, but she's really good she's good in the movie for sure. Some people will either argue that they like their chemistry. I saw it with Roxy. Roxy didn't think their chemistry worked. I thought their chemistry worked. But yeah, I just that's my point, is that you can dive deep into a world that we already know. You can still give us big scenes, but develop the characters. And now I feel like even when I go back and watch the Hunger Games now, I'm like, oh, that's why Snow's the way he is. And it was done very well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to watching that then.
Me too.
Me too. I'm hungry. And if you're hungry, you should get some Green Chef, baby. That's right, Green Chef. It's so good. I love it. I've been talking about it for a bit. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them right now. Here you go. I love talking about Green Chef. You guys know I do. And I'm going to talk about them even more. It's Thanksgiving time, baby. You got to eat clean all holiday long with 80 plus weekly options that change every week, featuring delicious, nutritionist approved recipes. You can choose from their 8 meal preference with options for every lifestyle. Quick and easy, protein packed, calorie smart, Mediterranean, keto, delicious discoveries, gluten free, and plant based. Eating clean shouldn't be boring, especially during the holiday season. Feel your best and satisfy your cravings with adventurous eats made nutritious. Discover exciting new flavors with recipes that feature certified organic fruits and vegetables, sustainably sourced seafood, and unique farm-fresh ingredients like tart cherries, truffle zest, and rainbow carrots. Eat clean the delicious way this November with flavor-packed recipes like buttery lemon garlic shrimp, harissa apricot chicken, maple burnet squash risotto, and sriracha tamari beef bowls. I love Green Chef. You guys know it. I've been eating it forever, and now I was so excited because I'm so excited in general that they're with us, but I was so excited to be selfishly because of the holiday season, and I cannot wait to get the stuff for Thanksgiving. Can't wait. It's so delicious. Makes me feel good, and I don't know. For some reason, I feel like a chef. I'm definitely not, and I definitely feel like one when I'm working with Green Chef. For Green Chef's best deal of the year, you're going to get $250 off, but you got to use that code THING250 at greenchef.com/thing250. Did you hear what I just said? $250 off with the code THING250 at greenchef.com/thing250. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Guys, I'm so excited to tell you about the Patreon. I know a lot of new people have been signing up. I'm so excited that you have been. We have just done a complete rehaul of the Patreon, and there's a lot of new goals. We have a full year. If we can get to 1,000, hopefully before that, but if we can get to 1,000 patrons, Winston's going to go to Universal, and he's going to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and he doesn't like those things. Me, I don't like the Red Sox. So as we approach, I think it's like 700 patrons, I have to watch the Red Sox beat the Yankees with JTE, for God's sakes, from the 2004 series. Very painful for me. We have a lot of other things. The Flirt and Flouse going to jump out of a plane at 10,000 patrons. But the other side is we have a lot of extra content over there. We got stuff going on, whether it's exclusive episodes a day before they come out to the YouTube channel. We have exclusive that's just exclusive. There's an extra show that Riley and I do over there. There's going to be some live Q&As that we do over there. So there's all of that. That's a lot of fun. The direct connectivity to all of you guys has been very, very exciting. One of the things that I think has really been going over well are these one-on-one sessions that I've been doing with people. There's only around 12 spots per month, and they're going pretty fast. Since we switched over from the website, I still think there's like 3 or 4 left, but it's essentially just me for about a half an hour talking to people, and we go over a lot of different things. We talk movies, we talk about life. It's really fun. And there's another one. There's another one that we have, and that's at the $35 tier, 15-minute sessions, and it could be with anybody. You don't know who you're going to get. Could be Brett, could be Steph, could be Kate, could be Mike. Who knows? So you can join over at patreon.com/thebigthingshow. Sign up today. Love to get more of you guys over there. We're building this thing out, and we love to have this kind of just community that we're building, and I'm so excited to have you all on board. So thanks. Patreon.com/thebigthingshow. All right, thank you to our friends over at Green Chef, and as you also saw, the Patreon, we're getting so close to you. Steph, do you know a lot of the tiers that we're doing for the Patreon?
No.
So I'm going to give you the big one first. When we hit 10,000 patrons, right now we're at like 400, but when we hit 10,000, Brett's going to be in character as the Flirt and Flouse, and he is going to skydive. Jen Sturger said that she will go with him, not just to skydive, but go with him in character as Jessica, his girlfriend, and to her words, not mine, be wearing dental floss. Not my words, her words.
What?
So
10,000 folks,
at 10,000.
let's go.
And they're going to basically go into do this whole, bit. But he's
That's
terrified
amazing.
at 1,000, bringing that down a little bit more here. 1,000, Winston will go to Universal Horror Nights. Does not like that type of stuff
wow.
in October. For sports fans, I don't know if you know about this one. At 700, I have to watch the ALCS, the Yankees versus Red Sox 2004.
Oh my
with
God.
JTE.
With JT.
Which is brutal.
Holy
So that
crap.
was a good one that
Specific.
PLD came
That's
up with.
amazing.
1,200, I think Brett and I will spend money to go to front row seats to the Corey Feldman concert.
Oh my God.
600, which we're close to, Mike Kalinowski will do a 5-minute stand-up comedy set.
Good Lord.
Yes.
So that's
Oh my
those,
God.
those are just the goals in general, but we have a lot of great tiers. We have Q&As over there. We have new episodes. Have you been paying attention? I haven't talked to you about this at all.
What?
Where do you stand? And I'm not going to get into the whole thing that you can watch on Tuesday. Where do you stand on the UFOs and the UAPs and all that stuff?
Oh, I've always believed in
Oh, you
aliens.
do?
Yeah, of course.
You need to come on the show then. on
Okay,
Tuesday.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay. Because have you
I'm-
been paying attention to everything that's going on
Yeah.
with all the news? Okay. Did you?
With the mummy
did-
aliens, those
They-
were hysterical.
Well,
I don't
wait a
believe.
minute. Well, wait a minute. Last Tuesday,
There's more.
They had another Mexico hearing. They did not confirm it was alien, but they confirmed those bodies are real and they're non-human. But they left it at that. They said that it's now
Okay,
whatever that means.
I'm happily will be proven wrong on that. I just can't believe that as narcissistic human species, we have developed what we think is an alien, which is a triangle face, big-eyed, small mouth creature. And for that actually to be what aliens look like would be the funniest.
Well, wait. How do you know that a lot of that came from leaks of different things that came out in the past of images that people saw first, and then it got out, and then people were like, oh, well, this is what they say it looks like, and actually they start
Right,
to develop,
but
like
we
Close Encounters.
caricatured them, like
Sure.
totally.
Yeah, they became like the main. They became
Right.
the main thing. But again, we're not going to get into the whole thing
Okay,
here
we'll
today.
get
But
into it later.
Steph can come on in
I'm
the
all
show.
the way in.
Yeah, you should absolutely listen to.
Take me. If you're listening, take me.
Be careful what you wish for.
I want to go.
Be careful what you wish for.
I'm a great ambassador.
I'm sure we got a lot. If you are watching the show, like we have, well, yesterday was Attack Peter. I mean, that episode already is close to, like, we just put it up yesterday and sort of like 80,000 views. So thank you everybody who tuned in. Yeah. So let's get into some of these other stories because we have a ton of other things to talk about.
I'm so upset I'm missing the live show.
You should
too.
be. You
Yeah,
should
you
be.
should
I'm going to
be.
be there, you know.
It's so annoying. I was actually like so excited. I'm like, I'm going to kill this.
Do you
I'm
know
gonna
how
kill
mad
this.
Roxy was?
I
Not
know.
at you in general.
But the situation.
Because so basically Roxy was so pumped she started coming up with bits. for
We
her
were,
and
we were
Steph to
coming
do.
out with bits. We were like, this is our moment.
Damn.
We're going to be comedians.
Right, and so Steph and Rox were going to do the show together, and they had all these bits, and then Steph couldn't do it because she got a wedding she has to go to. So I
My
told
cousin.
Roxy, and Roxy goes like this to me. She goes, you know, now that Steph's not in, can I? Maybe I don't do it. I'm like. You're not bailing on me. And she goes, I won't bail. And then she sent me this video, which is hilarious. And she's like, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. This sucks. And I went back. I go, look, to be as kind as I can and East Coast as I can. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah, I was like, dude, you're an actual professional host,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people like to laugh at you. So use those two things.
She's like, will you help me? I go, of course I'll help you for sure. And I said, look, you can't. Like, if you saw what Coy did at that last show, she can do what Coy did.
I love
but
that
better.
you've just like openly
us-
decided to drag Coy on that.
Coy's stand up when he's doing stand up was great, and he opened up the show very well. But then he started getting into territory where he's just like, let's talk
That's
about zebras
hysterical.
Yeah.
banging on
Oh,
the
I've seen
bridge.
both of his.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
a couple
his
of his.
He can
stand-up's
go
good.
dark.
His
Yeah, oh, yeah.
stand-up's
Yeah, he can
good.
go dark. So I was like, you can get people going for sure.
I'm still gonna work with her on some bits,
Okay.
but you guys should go to the show. I think. It's gonna
When
be
does
amazing.
your wedding end?
End?
What time?
Yeah, what time? You
It's
like
in
run over?
Cal Poly. Or
That's-
I know.
These people
I
have them having a flappers. We'll put
I
the
know,
reception at
right? I
Flappers.
should say that. If it wasn't my first cousin,
Yeah.
I would
Bail.
bail fully.
All right. Well, tough shit.
I
Maybe
know.
We'll Skype you in.
I actually like him too, so I'm like,
So you can't
Yeah,
bail.
I
there you go.
can't.
There you go.
All right. Well, too bad.
any other family member, you're on
Bail.
notice.
All right, sorry. All right. Speaking of notice, people have been on notice about this Last of Us thing, man. Season 2.
Yup.
Season 2 has reportedly found its Abby Anderson, a very huge character in the second game, of course. So it seems now HBO has found its Abby Anderson as a reliable source is reporting that Caitlin Dever has landed the role of Ellie's nemesis in the second season of The Last of Us. So Mark Cassidy says The Last of Us might have found its Abby, despite a recent rumor that Florence Pugh was in the mix for what will be a huge part in the second season of HBO's adaptation of the best-selling survival horror sci-fi video game. We're now hearing that another actress has entered talks, and this one is casting choice that is sure to stir up a lot of conversation. According to Jeff Snyder, Caitlin Dever is executive producer, co-showrunner Craig Mazin, and game creator Neil Druckmann's pick to play Abby in season 2 of the critically acclaimed series. I don't want to read the spoilers because it's a massive spoiler. So I like her as an actress. I have seen and know certain things about this character, and I know everybody's rumoring this character. I thought that Katie O'Brien, from the look that I saw from
Sure.
the
Oh,
game
that's
itself,
cool.
Katie O'Brien to me would have
Or Ruby.
fit. Ruby
What's her last
Rose?
name? The actress.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
actress. Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
She's one of the worst actresses.
She
if
is?
if it's the one that I'm thinking of, the one
Yeah.
The one from John Wick.
John Wick, but she doesn't talk in John Wick.
No, she's fine in that, but she was in Batgirl.
Oh, okay, I'm just going off pure aesthetic here.
Oh,
I just saw the character.
Short.
She
She's
looks
just,
like the character.
I hear nothing but nice things. That there are people who know Ruby Rose. She's a
they
sweet
say
person. She's just not a good actress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So pretend I didn't say anything, but I do think she's hot. I'll say that.
So they look, this is coming quick, and I do like the fact that once. Clearly, from the fact that we have Steph back, like things are starting to move back into motion, right? We're getting, and the news that's coming out now, you're getting tons of new things that are coming out, and shows and release dates and casting, and now people can talk about it, and even we were just talking about Ahsoka, people are posting pictures and there's tons of stuff going on.
Like a time machine on Twitter.
It really,
I know.
It really
By
is.
the way, I loved.
Yeah.
I've already lived through this.
That was the first thing Roxy said.
I've been waiting to tell you guys.
It was like going. It was like just like releasing. Like it's like you had a secret that you just wanted to. Yes, there are aliens. It's like I love Barbie.
Now you know who I am again.
Right. Yeah, it's a
My
truth.
whole personality went away.
No, well, it's back now,
Yeah.
and I think that's it. So having a story like this, The Last of Us, and this is also goes back to my point from before that this is the type of stuff people eat up. They're like, oh, who's playing her?
Right.
Yeah. It's
because they love the show so much.
They love the show and
the
they're so
game.
invested in the game. Like the show got me really like I had the game for years sitting on my shelf that I never opened it. And then I started watching the show and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna play the game. So I watched and played at the same time. I would play up to the part where the show was.
Okay.
There's only one time that I played past it and then wanted, because I did it on purpose, because it was for two reasons. One, because I was just so locked into the game and I wanted to play. Yeah. But the other side of it was that I wanted to see how much they were going to like cut out and how much it actually deviated from the story.
Yeah.
And like they just did it so well. So I'm curious how they're going to do this, because I know the big kind of thing that happens in season 2. Do you know also? Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know what it is?
I think I do, because I hate being surprised.
Right. So you just found the spoiler.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people do. It's kind of like the worst kept secret out there.
It's almost
right?
Game of Thrones-ish in terms of how you know.
It is. And
yeah.
I wonder if they're going to do that.
But then again, not a lot of people necessarily.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Actually,
I wonder if they're going to do it. Like, it's one of the things
Or
that
prolong it.
or prolong
because if they
it.
want to do more,
Yeah,
stuff.
and I wonder if they're going to prolong it, because if they do, it's one of those things that I think that the audience would be like, it's okay that you changed that. It's okay that you changed that, because and maybe there's some people like you shouldn't have changed it. I don't know. It depends on. I didn't play the second game though. I know what happened.
Right, like what people who played the game's real opinion was.
And
on
how
that.
does it play? How does
Yeah.
it play? And does it tell this? Does it actually add to the story more so of the season 2 and enhance it? And maybe people don't want to change it because you can still do other things.
I mean, there is this world they've set up. So, I mean, you could eventually, I'm sure they'll explore other characters or other storylines to do within that world. But if they go the route the way the second game went, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see everyone else's reaction to it.
What are the main character depictions of this, perhaps Caitlyn?
Like, what you mean, her like
that character in the show in the
game. Like, so again, like I don't
Without
know.
spoiling.
I just know, like they said, I think the best thing to say without spoiling anything, giving away like kind of, oh well, if she's got those traits, then she's probably gonna do this.
Okay.
I would just, like they said, she's Ellie's rival.
So she's like a badass, but in a different way. Okay, cool.
I mean, it'll be when I heard the news.
She has motives.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I heard read the news about her being casted for this part, potentially, possibly, first thing comes to mind is the physicality of it all.
Right.
And you go,
right.
Well, but it's like when you are hired to play a role and your job for 8 months, a year, whatever, is to work out every day and bulk out, and you train.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, I think, she can get to a level where for people who play the game, who are so locked in on the look of this character, she can achieve that, because I think she's a really good actress, and I think she would do a good job in the role. So I think if they're looking at it in the terms of, can you actually deliver a performance that's convincing of this character and what?
Then you can hit the physical.
Then you can
actions
hit the
later.
yeah.
I mean, look at Gal Gadot, right? Gal Gadot,
Yeah.
who at the time it was did not fill the form
She was
Wonder
pregnant.
Woman. No, not at the. Was she?
I think for the first one, she was 4 months pregnant.
I just remember her being. I don't know. Maybe that's true, but I remember her just being. She was really skinny. She was really skinny, and then it was like, can she bulk up to play Wonder Woman? And she did it like that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we say like that, but
Right,
but
yeah.
it
Probably took a year.
It probably took a while to do it, but she she really. I mean, to me, she looked just like Wonder Woman. I thought she was a great Wonder Woman. I thought she was a great Wonder Woman.
Agreed.
I gotta give it to her.
Yeah, and so I agree with Frank that you got to see how that's going to play overall with the performance, because I don't know what the audience who is like so locked into the game. When I looked at the comparison and looked at kind of what Katie O'Brien was doing, I thought Katie O'Brien was the perfect choice. I really did. I thought she was a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's one of those people where sometimes I get mad when they hire UFC actors because they're not great. I mean, they're not WWE where they're like learning these skills, you know. And even then, sometimes it's kind of a rough transition.
It's very different acting,
right?
Yeah.
But and you know, we saw in Shang-Chi. The more I watch it, the more like the Razor Crest guy, I like him more and more. But he was the one who took me out a little bit. But Katie O'Brien, I feel like, is a great mixture of like a real athlete, but good actress.
She was an athlete, but she's also stunts. And then she really does play into it from her role in Ant-Man, Andor. So yeah, and she was in Mandalorian season 3, right?
Yeah,
briefly, but more so. But Andor was really where she kind of, I think, shined. So. Anyway, very curious if you guys were fans of Last of Us Season 2. What do you think? All right, let's get to another story here. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, confirmed, in quotations, to have ditched writer Jeff Loveness. Why? Because he was all wrapped up in the Kang storyline. Uh-oh, what's that mean?
Oh.
This isn't the first time that we've heard this rumor, but a reliable source now says that Jeff Loveness is definitely off of Avengers: The Kang Dynasty because Marvel Studios is going to start to move away from Kang plans. Josh Wilding says there's a lot of speculation surrounding Marvel Studios' multiverse saga plans, particularly after the largely negative reaction to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania earlier this year. Along with Loki, the threequel was supposed to set the stage for Kang the Conqueror to be this saga's big bad. Unfortunately, Marvel Studios failed to take into account that having this new Thanos die at the hands of Ant-Man wasn't going to do anything to increase interest in him moving forward. I agree with that. Then there are the well-publicized legal issues faced by Kang actor Jonathan Majors. Depending on how his upcoming court case goes, his time in the MCU may soon reach its end if it hasn't already. Talking on the Ringer's House of R podcast, MCU The Reign of Marvel Studios author Joanna Robinson shared an update on where things stand with Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and confirmed that Loveness is off the movie. She says, I heard from somebody recently, the screenwriter, Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania, was supposed to write The Kang Dynasty. Anyway, it's confirmed. I had it confirmed to me that he's no longer working for Marvel. I asked the person why. They said the reason why he was all wrapped up in the Kang storyline, and they are likely going to be moving away from that. It seems Marvel Studios lost faith in Loveness being able to continue Kang's story, though the bigger issue might be the fact that they're considering moving on from the time traveler altogether. The Loki Season 2 finale potentially went some way in helping that, and it would be easy enough for a big bad to take credit for destroying the Council of Kangs. Heck, maybe Loki himself can remove those variants from the new multiverse. So, yada, 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 yada. All right, so this is interesting for a lot of different reasons, right? Now, probably going to cover some Loki spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen the finale for Loki Season 2, I'll put it in the time code. You can skip to the next one because I think it's relevant. They do set up a way to get out of this storyline.
Definitely.
Yeah, so again, with the spoilers, Loki is essentially sitting on the throne, holding everything together, and the TVA is hunting down all the Kang variants. So with a couple alliance, we got them.
Yep.
You know, if they wanted to. Now, the flip side to that is if they wanted to, they could say, okay, we're now going to continue this storyline on, and the TVA is going after Kang. But they could get rid of this storyline altogether. I just wonder, like, to me, the way it plays, you know, if we're going to talk about like the legal issues, because there's a lot of information that we're not privy to that I'm sure Marvel is, like things that maybe they hear in certain things about the case. Maybe there's certain things that are happening, and like I know Jonathan Majors like requested to get the case thrown out. It was declined. So he's going to be going through all that. And if they feel the evidence is mounting up and that it's going to look like he's going to be found guilty of a lot of this stuff, then cutting their losses is fair. I just feel that if it's the opposite, they're going to find themselves in some trouble. If it turns out that without a reasonable doubt that there's a lot of things that happen here that he was proven innocent. That's a tricky situation to be in if you're going to cut the Kang storyline when you don't even have all the facts yet. But I'm curious, Steph, how do you feel about all this?
I don't know what came first. Like, if my idea of the King storyline is sullied because of all the drama going on,
Right.
I don't really care if it goes.
Right, I
I'm
don't think
not
anybody is right
super
now. Yeah.
invested in it at all. I think they did a great job with it in Loki, and that's kind of where I'm good with it finishing.
Yeah.
And I don't need as a villain. I think he's interesting, but it's also like, where is his motive going to continue? Is it just to hold control of time?
Right.
Which is cool, I guess, but it's not that villainous to me in a way, because it's like some of it was, but I don't know. So I'm fine with it going, but I do agree. It's like there's something so grotesque about the possibility of him being innocent, and then we just witch hunt him and have this role be taken from him, and he is one of my favorite actors,
Right.
newer upcoming actors.
And on the flip side,
And on the flip side, if he's not, it's a really tricky decision. Then it's like, then he's just rising up more to stardom while this is all. So it just, to me, I think I would drop it. And then if it's innocent, he's a great actor. He's not going to have a problem getting another job.
yeah, they're probably going to have some lawsuits if he's
Yeah.
proven, is what's
Right.
will probably happen.
But unless they make the story end, which they did.
I
And
mean,
They have an out right now.
Right.
They have an
do.
out.
They have an out. And
And-
I don't know what his contract looks like.
he was
I mean,
the-
there's that.
one of the stars of the season. You know, it's not like they cut his role. That
They
time.
didn't, and they had the whole season play out, and good for them that they did,
Yeah.
because they did. I'm very curious what the original ending was, if it was exactly like this all the way
Oh,
through, unless they did certain things.
Right.
to
I
it.
don't know the way this show is well written. I would like to think this is what they had in store, and this is what they did. And
really, though?
in term with He Who Remains and all that you talking about?
I don't know, because I think that there is something about the fact that they were going to keep going with him. So this keeps it open ended to where it could.
I mean, maybe there was like another part of, you see Loki do what he does and sits on the throne, but maybe there was like a scene they cut where it's like He Remains. It's still,
I think so.
doing one of
That's
these.
what I
and
mean.
yeah, maybe.
I think that the
maybe,
things
sure.
with holding the timelines and all that maybe was still there, but like what Renslayer is doing, and like even seeing young Timely not getting the book, like those certain things that are happening,
Yeah.
maybe they weren't shot, but we'll never know, or maybe we will. Who knows? Right now, everything leaks.
Right.
True.
But,
Eventually.
yeah. So I mean, they have gave it a shot. With the Variety article that came out a little while ago, got that wrong. Because what they said,
Oh, right.
what they said was like, oh, I don't know how they're going to handle this. I've seen the Loki season 2, and they really
Right.
set it up to. It's like, I think the opposite.
Yeah,
Right.
completely the opposite.
Yeah.
That was really
Could have seen a different ending. Could have seen a different ending.
Possibly, but I mean, I don't know how much more different
Sure.
are they gonna, was it gonna look from what we got? So, if they decide to move on from Jonathan Majors, it'd be a bummer on two accounts, because I think he's a really great actor, and second of all, that would mean he's really a shit human.
Yeah.
So that would be a bummer, because I really like his stuff. But like I said, they have an out right now, and I think, if you're Marvel doesn't need to. Maybe they can accelerate another storyline to where you get another villain going. I don't know.
It's got to be. There's two ways to do it.
Yeah.
It's either, and we'll talk about this and then move to our last story. You either recast, which is
Yeah.
easy to do because of the variant side of it. You could make. I mean, I know.
Other than him being the one variant that looks the same.
But I know we did see all at the end of Ant-Man. You saw
Yeah.
all the different. But you could have a variant.
Totally,
You can really do it.
Totally.
and people would go, oh,
There's a
yeah,
crocodile
yeah,
variant.
Right.
I-
Exactly. Exactly.
I get it. Or you just get rid of the Kang storyline and you just focus on Doom.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Doctor Doom, as people have been talking about, Doctor Doom is your way to go. But even more so, why I think you need somebody really. There's two names one name that I have been championing to be Doctor Doom, and the other one that was thrown at me that I said that could be really interesting.
Huh.
The one that I want is Henry Cavill. I think it is.
I love him.
I think Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom is such a spin on what he did on DC into and becoming the guy in Marvel
Very
as
cool.
like the next bad. That would be great. The other one that someone threw at me recently was Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling has like kind of a darker side.
Oh, sure.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
And that would be a great way to do it also, as you see, like, you know, instead of him playing Silver Surfer, and someone brought it up too, I think it was Coy maybe, we said that, or maybe it could have been Winston, said 10 years ago he actually would have been a great Johnny Storm.
Yes,
He would have been a
definitely.
great Johnny Storm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but now I would like to see it. But Steph, where do you think that they should go if they do go away from Jonathan Majors? Recast or focus on Doom?
Focus on Doom. I think I think they did a great job introducing him as a character and having a 2-season arc with him of a lot of people's favorite Marvel show so far. So I think that would be great. But I was just thinking, did you watch Secret Invasion?
2 episodes and bailed.
You can
Really?
stop. You can stop there. It's
That's what I heard.
I watched it.
Stinks, right?
It was fine. There was
the first
parts I
person I heard
liked.
say that.
There was parts I liked.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
But yeah, I was curious because I didn't. It was during the strike, but there was no one said anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh.
You think it stinks, right?
man, it really goes downhill after I think episode 3.
2? Oh, okay.
Like that's when it just I go whoa. And then the finale, I was like, come on, man.
I
Like,
gotta finish it only because I want to do a full ranking of all the
Oh,
shows
yeah.
and movies.
Yeah.
So I want to.
I know
mean,
because
it's
I
not
heard you
gonna-
put the Marvels as your last.
It's not my last, but
Okay.
it's in the bottom. It might be. It's in that talk about a poorly written movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard that.
That's the thing, though. Is Frank and I looked at each other after that movie and said, said there was a movie in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times, like the first half an hour of that film, it's like I said to him, it's not that bad. Like it was like it's a fun Marvel movie. It's fine. And then there's just that scene, and it just like.
Then they just start cutting off spots where you think they might explore
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess we're done there, you know? And it's like, okay. And you wish you would have had more of that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I put it Thor: Love and Thunder is worse for me.
Oh my gosh.
I can't rewatch it. And
I
like,
fell asleep in that movie.
I
can't-
love it so
I
much.
can't rewatch it. Like I tried to again, and like because there are moments again, like by the time you get to like the last part of that movie, minus the kids running around, but like when you get to the last part of that movie when there's actually an emotional storyline with him and Jane, it just takes 57 bad Saturday Night Live sketches to get there.
It was
Russell
it was,
Crowe doing a dance as Zeus. I'm like, come on.
It was something else.
Movie sucks.
Something else.
That movie sucks. That movie sucks.
I will die
And I
on
love
that
Taika. I love Taika. I do. And like it was funny because I was going through like I'm trying to get there's a bunch of guests that we're trying to get on the show over the next course. And I was looking at like, Taika's got a new movie coming out with Fassbender that I want to see. And
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
That's the thing that I don't think the fandom does well. Right. If one director makes a movie inside of a franchise that you don't like, then
Right.
they ostricize the. They you know what, this guy.
He
get him out of here.
sucks.
Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson's a brilliant filmmaker.
Yes.
I think
Brilliant.
I think The Last Jedi, the more and more I see it, stinks like horseshit. But I think that he is a fantastic.
He rocks.
It's great.
Dude,
I
go
like
back-
his personality too.
I'll watch Looper. I'll watch
Anything.
Knives Out. I'll watch his stuff is really good. I just didn't like the stuff he did with Breaking Bad. He's a
Yeah.
great director. He ruined Star Wars, so I hate him now. It's like, dude,
He
watch his
didn't.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with Taika. I think that movie stinks. I love Taika's other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I really dig Ragnarok.
Ragnarok
Just because
rocks.
someone makes a movie you don't like, it doesn't mean that unless they look. If there's a couple of jokes in there about me and my family, and then there's other things like, oh look, he's taking shots at Kristian saying this and doing false. Then it's like, well, fuck him. He didn't do that to me. He didn't do that to me.
It's not personal.
Not personal.
Right.
And no filmmaker dedicates a year of their life
No, they try
to
to
make,
make something.
shit
Yeah,
for you.
right,
right.
You
It's like-
know, like
yeah.
they're trying.
You
to-
cannot like the movie. You don't have to just start. Now I'll never watch anything that person does ever again. Why?
Why?
What?
It's-
It's
wild behavior. I don't know.
It's crazy. All right, I guess this is Frank's gonna get out of here, but let me do. Do you have time for one more story?
Yeah, we can do
All right, one more. All right, let's go with something a little less controversial. Harry Potter.
All right. All right.
So they did a lot of the video game stuff came out, and this to me this is lame. I have to be honest. This is lame and I'll explain why. Hogwarts got snubbed from video game award stuff, right? So Hogwarts game gets snubbed and then it hits Switch. So in the wake of the Game Award nominations the other day, much of the conversation online has swirled around the titles that were snubbed, especially Hogwarts Legacy, and to much lesser extent, like the likes of Starfield and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Starfield, for example, was nominated for only one award, Best RPG, which is expected to easily lose to Baldur's Gate 3. Despite its positioning as Xbox flagship game of the year, drawing more reaction is Hogwarts Legacy, one of the year's best-selling titles, which scored good reviews, 84% on Metacritic, yet it's a game that became a lightning rod for controversy. According to Dexerto, the reasoning for the snub is likely the title has been drowned by the flood of great releases this year, which seems true with all 6 games up for Game of the Year, scoring in the 90s on Metacritic. Others, however, on Twitch, such as User Lyric and social media platforms, have gone off on the omission with discussion of fear of backlash over its inclusion. Okay, so I don't really know how to feel about it. I don't want to start jumping into conspiracy and stuff too, but I saw things about people saying boycott this game in general when it came out and all that. And I get it when it comes to J.K. Rowling, that there's certain things that she as a creator has said that people can take issues with. You forget about the hundreds of other people that work at these games. You forget about the actors that are doing voices. You forget about the graphics people. You forget about all these different people who put their heart and their soul into these games. And it's not just one person. You know, it's like there's tons of movies that you have seen that you went to support of things that like people have done, and you went to see it because you're like, oh, okay, but everybody else was involved in it. It's like you can choose to not play it because you feel like, look, I respect the fact that everybody wrote it, but because of that and because of my beliefs and because of what J.K. Rowling said, I'm not going to play this game. And I think that's fair. I don't think that it's fair for you to say that to other people, to not play it, because, again, because unless someone's going, you know why I'm playing this game? Because F trans people. Then you're like, well,
I'm also a TERF.
Then you're like, well, then fuck you.
Right.
But if you're like, no, I want to play this game because I like Harry Potter. I want to support the game. My daughter plays it.
Yeah.
My daughter plays the game, and she loves the game.
Right.
And it's like, and if the snub happened because they didn't want to get the backlash, I think it's lame. Now, there is something also to be said in the same way that when movies come out in the beginning of the year, something like Air is going to have a tougher time getting nominated than movies that are coming out from September until December. So I don't know, Steph. What do you think? Do you think it's not getting a nomination because of the fear of the nomination, because of the backlash, or do you think that no, it just came out too early?
I think it could be a mix. It's probably a mixture of things. It's also probably that, Hogwarts and Harry Potter world has gotten a lot of recognition, and there are so many other franchises and games and ideas out there to be shown and given kind of the time. And on the other end of things, I do think that they probably felt like some of the backlash, which I do find a little bit ridiculous. Just the more and more we go through this cycle of boycotting people, trying to cancel them, and I'm a type of person that I do think that accountability needs to be made. I don't like hateful people. I hate that they make money. But guess what? Then you're not watching a single Disney movie because they're also anti-trans kids. Like a lot of the people who work for Disney and a lot of the people who get money from Disney are anti-trans corporations and different donors. So it's like, then don't watch anything, I guess.
It's because J.K. Rowling has a very prominent profile.
Right.
And it's because, and like I said, it's just a matter of recognizing that. I mean, look, there's a movie and TV show that's also more movies and more TV shows that come out. Right. So does that mean that nobody can see them at all? It's weird.
Yeah, I think it's your personal choice, like you said. If you don't feel comfortable.
For sure, your personal choice. And I think to what you're talking about there, Kristian, it's one person and then there's hundreds of other people who work on a specific project, TV show, movie, what have you. And then to deny them because of the one person, then it's like, well, are you passing judgment on the hair and makeup person because they're working on a Harry Potter project because of, well, don't you know who created Harry Potter? Why would it's such a a personal thing for sure.
Right.
And so in terms of this game awards, I think it probably was largely, in fact, the backlash. I think it was. I think this will be over in a few weeks, and we'll be done with it, and we'll move on.
Right. People will know that we didn't nominate the game.
Right.
They'll give us crap for it for a little bit, and then nobody will talk about it
Right.
again. I think you're probably exactly right. All right. With that, that's it. What do you guys think? Do you think that why do you think it didn't get nominated? Do you think it should have gotten nominated? Did you play the game? Any of the topics we talked about here today, let your thoughts be known. If you have the means to and you can help us out, please, please, please go on over to Green Chef, wonderful sponsor today. And of course, join Patreon if you can do that. Steph, it was so good to have you back. Where can the kids find you?
At Steph Sabra and our alien talks in the future.
Absolutely, for sure. Frankie Janish.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, FrankieJ29. Also, my Star Wars podcast, Cosmos Inc., is going to be having a panel at LA Comic Con December 3rd at 1 p.m. So if you're at LA Comic Con or you want an excuse to go to LA Comic Con, come see our panel. December 3rd, that's a Sunday, 1
Day
p.m.
after our show.
Yeah.
Day after our live
That's
show.
good for people coming to watch the show. They can also do Comic-Con.
Yeah, well,
That's right.
Frank will be hung over that day.
Probably.
For his panel, for sure. So make sure you go and check him out. Again, Patreon, all those things. Get the show link for stand-up comedy. It's in the description. We appreciate you very much. Hopefully next week we'll get Kalinowski and Steph also, where we can just kind of talk some shite, because it's always fun when Steph and I can kind of team up on my.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us again, guys. Appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side.